Welcome everybody to the second part of our 4-H Alberta multi-species judging learning series. Hopefully everybody can give or can hear me and see my slides. Welcome. We're so excited that everybody has joined us again for tonight. I just want to let you know that this is being recorded and it will be up on the YouTube 4-H Alberta YouTube channel within a week or two, so you can review it as well as the other sessions as well. Tonight we're joined by our Lakeland College judging team, who will lead us through this second part of the presentation. Just to start off, I want to do a couple of housekeepings. You'll hear me say this twice because we do have an exciting event coming up on March 8th at Lakeland College. That is our 4-H Alberta provincial judging competition, open for juniors, intermediates, and seniors. This is open for registration and the deadline is a little ways away, but register early so we can continue planning. You do that through your online profile platform on the online registration system. So the deadline is March 1st for that program. So you can register it. If you have 4 friends in your age group, you can register as a team as well. And or you can just come on and you will be put on a team. There are prizes for individuals as well as team prizes at this competition. The winners of the senior category will have an opportunity to judge at the Agribition, or the Canadian judging competition held during Agribition in the fall of 2024. What the day looks like is you start off at 8:30, nice early morning at the Lakeland College Riding Arena. You will judge probably from 9 till about noon. Juniors and intermediates will judge and then give reasons on 6 classes. And then the seniors will do all their judging and give their reasons on 8 classes in the afternoon. And those reasons for all age categories will be oral reasons. Then all the results will be tabulated and there will be a fun banquet and awards at 5:30. And again, there's the registration link for anyone that's interested. Before we get started, I'm going to quickly just go through our sponsors for this program as well as many others. Our Diamond Clover sponsor is the Government of Alberta. Our Emerald Clover sponsors are Alberta Recycling, AltaLink, ATB, Calgary Stampede Foundation, CPA, UFA, and our Gold Clover sponsors are AFSC, Co-op, and our Silver Clover sponsor is Wolf Carbon Solution. Our Bronze Clover sponsors for 4-H Alberta is Alberta Beef Producers, Bayer, Gas Alberta Inc., Lakeland College, MCS Net, Nutrien, and Viterra, and our national partner is also Bayer with a partnership with 4-H Canada. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Girls, you can hopefully have ability to, I'm going to make you a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen. You can pull that up. And as you are doing that, members, I welcome you to unmute and we will begin with the 4-H pledge and then we'll get into our learning. So everybody unmute and join me in the 4-H pledge.
Okay.
I pledge.
I pledge
to clear thinking, my heart's great loyalty, and to better citizens. I help better living of my community and my world.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Who asked you to do it?
Krista.
Thanks everybody. So you can go ahead and go on mute, and if you have a question, I will help monitor the chat, and if you have a question, you can put it in the chat. If our presenters ask you a question, you can unmute, but I ask you if you're not asking a question or answering a question, you stay on mute to reduce the background noises. So you can put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand if you have a question, your virtual hand, and you'll be called upon to ask. There will be a chance for questions at the end as well. How you guys doing with the sharing? Can you do it? Awesome. Looks good. Okay. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys, and you can skip the pledge, but do a quick little introduction for you, because you're in a cool state right now. You're a busy college student, as well as you're part of the intercollegiate judging team. So take it away.
First. All right, so my name is Shanley Vancano, and this is my first year at Lakeland College. I'm in the Animal Science Technology program, taking a beef major, and this is my first year on the judging team. I've been in 4-H for 13 years, so I have judged in your guys' shoes many times before, but we are still learning lots of stuff here at Lakeland. Our advisor of the judging team is Bevan Hamilton, and he is always teaching us more and more things at our practices. So we're going to try and share as much as we can of what we have learned from him.
My name is Emma Thomason. I'm from Central Butte, Saskatchewan, and this is my 12th year in 4-H. I'm also a first year AST student here at the college, and yeah, Bevan's taught us lots of stuff so far. We've had some practices we've done, I think dairy, horses, and a couple other things, but yeah, we're excited to share some stuff with you guys.
All right, so today we're gonna go over terminology, and we're gonna do some more judging practice. All right, so we already did the pledge. So what we'll be learning today is some animal parts and some different terminology, and maybe how you can use some of the animal parts in your reasons. And we're also going to do some judging practice.
We're gonna talk about some parts of the cow first, so that when you're judging, you know what to look for, and maybe what to look for in that specific area of the animal. So you can see number 1 on there is the tail head, and you're going to want to make sure it's squared off and fits the animal. And when you go and look at the animal from behind, you can see if they're even on both sides. And yeah, that's kind of how you can use the tail head to judge.
You also don't want your tail head too high. You kind of want it tucked in nice. Like Emma said, you want it to make sure it looks like it's part of the animal. Next, we have number 2, which is the top line. So when you're looking at the animal from the side, you want to see that top line is nice and straight. You don't want it to see it curve in the middle. That means they have a weak top line, and you want a strong top line. When you look from behind, you can also use the top line to see how wide they are over the top.
You can see is the neck on there, and when you're looking at an animal's neck, you want to make sure it's proportionate to the animal so it looks natural. It's not too short, it's not too long. And yeah, I guess that's all there really is to that.
Yeah, on females especially, you want to make sure that their neck extends out a decent amount. You don't want it, like she said, not too long, but you don't want it too short either. Next to on number 4 is the flank. So you don't want your flank too high. This is going to cause your animal to not be as deep in the body.
Yeah. And heart girth is number 5 there. It can be a way of measurement for animals, but this is just beginner, so we won't get too deep into that. But again, just proportionate and looks like it belongs to the animal.
Next you have 6, which is your shoulder. So especially on females, and even if we're talking about, say, bulls, you want a nice smooth shoulder, because in females and bulls, you're raising calves out of the animals. So you If your shoulders are too big, then you're gonna have a lot more calving troubles.
Yep. And then so number 7 there is the underline. It's kind of similar to the top line. Again, you just want a smooth underline that looks feminine. I guess if you're judging a female, same with the steer, it should look the same all around pretty well.
Yep. And then 8 is your pasterns. I guess actually 9 is your pastern.
Yeah, 9 is.
9 is actually your pastern. But this is a good indicator. You don't want them too high on their pasterns. You want a good angle there on their feet. This is going to help them travel well. So just looking at their legs in general is something you should look at when judging like even any kind of animal. But say we're talking about females, like beef heifers or cows, you want good leg structure so that we know that they can move out on the pasture and get to water and get to feed or wherever they need to go. Do you guys have any questions about those? I think so. All right, we'll move to the next one.
So now we're going to be talking about some horse parts. So first off, kind of at the head there, you can see the throat latch, and that's kind of where their cheek meets their neck. And you want that to be just nice and clean, no fat or anything there, just a nice clean throat latch is what you want to look for.
You have the shoulder there. You want a good amount of muscling here. This is like part of how they move, right? Your shoulder attaches to your leg, and the muscles that are on your shoulder there are gonna help the horse move. So you can see a lot of muscle definition in the shoulders.
As far as your knees and your cannon bones and your pasterns go, you want a good strong knee on a horse, but you don't want anything, protruding or out of place, but their knees are very important. And then their cannon bone there is you're going to look for it to be flat, and that's one of the most important parts for the cannon bone. And as far as the pasterns go, it's pretty much the same as what we just talked about with the cows. You want them strong and not dipping down so that they can get out and move and do everything they need to do.
Because we have to remember that like horses are more athletic animals, so they need to be able to move, like Emma said. And another thing when you're looking at their leg is you should be able to draw a straight line from where the pastern and like the top of the leg starts. I know it's going to kind of curve, obviously not that much, but you want a pretty straight leg. When you're talking about your withers, you can notice on this horse, like their top line isn't straight like beef cattle like we want them. Their withers and the top of their hindquarter are kind of the same height, and that's what you want. Their withers is also a place where you are basing your measurement of how tall your horse is.
So I'm gonna kind of talk about like the hindquarter of a horse now. Like when you look at the backside of a horse, you're gonna notice a lot more muscling than in the front. And that's because when horses get out to move, they use most of their muscles from their hind end. And you can see the gaskin is labeled there, and that's a really big muscle in the hind end of the horse. And they should be really well muscled in their hind end so they can get out and move. And yeah, that's super important to see lots of muscling there. But you don't want their rump to be too high up or you'll run into some issues there. And then as far as hocks and fetlocks go, kind of same thing as the front leg.
That's all we're gonna talk about there.
Yeah.
So we have some tips and tricks for you guys while judging. So make sure to take notes because sometimes you're not going to be able to see your class after, or you may not remember what those animals look like. So whenever you're evaluating each animal individually, make sure you take notes, anything that's even going to set them apart from each other so you can maybe remember a red steer from a black steer. And maybe the things you liked about them, you didn't like about them, but taking notes is one of your best goals to success when judging.
Like Shanna said, taking notes is really important, especially as you get older, you're going to start doing oral reasons. So it'll be really a good study guide for you before you have to go in and do that. Next is looking at animals far away and close up. Close up, you can kind of pay attention to more fine details, but also you can back away from the animal and kind of get the big picture of what you're really looking at as far as frame size, neck extension, all that kind of stuff.
And remember, when you're looking far away and close up, look from all the angles, from the front, the back, and both sides, because an animal may look really good from the side, but then you look from behind and he's just lacking that width or that muscling in the hind end. Or and then remember to compare. Comparing is all what judging is. You need to be able to compare why you placed that animal before the other one. Like, what was better than the one before? Uh, what did the other one lack? Like, make sure to compare each animal, because that's what's getting you your points in judging.
Yeah. And when you're doing a class, you're telling the judge why the animal you put in first is in first, and you're comparing that animal essentially to the rest of them. And so next is writing down what you noticed about the animal. It could be something specific like the color of the animal. It could be what color of halter they had on, so then you can remember which one you're talking about. It could be literally anything that helps you set them apart from the rest of the class when you can talk about them.
And then just trust your gut when you're judging. You when you watch the class walk into the ring, or if you walk up to the class, right, if you're just judging and they're tied up, if you see one that catches your eye right away, that may be your first place animal. So don't think about what your friends are doing, or, oh, what might this person think. Trust your gut, go with your gut. It may not always be right, but you're going to be able to say a lot more things in your reasons, which is going to help you if you're trusting your gut and going with what you think is right.
And like Shanna said, if you're explaining to the judge why you think this class should be placed that way, they're likely going to have some type of agreement with you, and as long as you trust what you're saying, you'll do well.
All right, next is what does a judging card even look like? So um we have a picture here on the screen. It's a little blurry, but this is what a written card looks like. So first thing you want to do is make sure you fill out all those lines at the top, your club name, your name, your age, or sometimes they do age category depending on the competition. Sometimes you have a contestant's number. And then most important is making sure you write down what class you're judging. And make sure you write down specifically what the class is, because you may be judging cattle or beef cattle, but what is it? Is it bulls? Is it steers? Is it yearling heifers? Is it cow-calf pairs, right? Make sure you're specific so that um, your reasons can be more specific too, if that makes sense. And then you have a place for your placings. So you have first, second, third, fourth. That's where you write the number of the animal. And then you have room for your reasons, and you can use the front and back of this card and more if you need. And then the difference in like an oral reason card is you're just gonna have the spot to write all that information at the top and just your placings. There'll be no room for reasons. All right, now we're gonna get you guys to do some judging for yourselves.
So here we have a practice class, and so you can see that they're hats, but we're going to be judging them based on what would be the safest if you were doing some kind of construction work. So which one has the most protection and looks like it would protect you in that kind of situation? So you're gonna pick your first place, your second place, your third place, and then your fourth place,
Definitely two.
and then we'll talk about it.
All right, so we're gonna give you guys a chance to look at these, and then you need to give us reasons why you placed them the way you did. So we're not going to do this where everyone's going off their mics and telling us the placings. We're going to go one at a time, and we'll just do a few. And we really want to hear you guys' reasons of why you chose them that way.
So maybe if you want to raise your virtual hand, if you want to say how you place them, and that's how we'll call upon you, if that's okay. You can put your order in the chat. And then
Yeah, put your order in the chat and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, we have a lot of just one numbers, so we want to have the actual placing. So the first placings I can see is Abby Waldner, and she said I would place this class 2431. We want to
See on here?
or sorry, she said 2413. There we go. We also have a 2134, a 2413. So most of you guys are saying 2. And then the other ones are kind of varying in your guys' placings. So we will go through what we did for our placings and why, and then you guys can understand maybe why we placed them the way we did. Oh,
So,
oh my gosh. Go back. There we go.
place them 2, 1, 3, 4. And obviously starting off, we have the construction hat that would protect you the most. It's not broken, it's intact. So then we went with 1 for second because um it's not gonna protect you very much, but it's gonna protect you more than the next choice. I'll let you do the last 2.
So yes, then we chose 3 because like she said, it's gonna protect you more than number 4 because number 4 is broken and that's gonna do you no good. So we put the most unsafe at the end, even though it's still a construction hat, that's still it's not gonna save you any more than the other ones. And it could potentially hurt you more.
Yeah.
So that's why we did ours the way we did.
Do you guys have any questions about this? If you do, you can either put it in the chat or unmute yourself, I guess. Yeah.
What if you couldn't see the other options?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I can't see 2 of the options.
Oh, which ones can't you see?
4 and 3.
Oh, that might be just your screen. You might see more people than screen. There might be 2 up and down lines on the right-hand side of the photo that you might be able to slide over. Might be
Okay.
yeah.
We will move on to the next one.
I have a question.
Oh,
What
yeah.
if, like, 4, I thought if 4 would be a little better because it had some protection more on the top than the other 1 and 3.
Yes, the only thing is like when a construction hat, this is more of like I guess background knowledge that you would have to know.
Yeah.
But when a construction hat is damaged like that, you're actually not allowed to use it. So you wouldn't actually be able to use it at all. It would be no use to you. So that's why we did place it last.
Okay.
Bring the screen up. Any other questions from you guys?
There's another hand, I think.
Okay.
I think you're unmuted.
What well, wouldn't you not be allowed to use 1 either at a construction site?
You wouldn't be able to.
No.
You wouldn't be able to use 1, 3, or 4. But in this one, it's more of like a situation class. You have to
Use your judgment.
yeah, like we know 2 for sure can be used, but then out of the next 2, it's more like, I guess, which ones could you maybe get away with using?
Yeah.
1's gonna protect you from the sun. That's what I would say. And then 3 is more of just a fashion statement, really.
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah. Is there any other questions?
Okay, we're gonna move on to another class here. So next we have horses here, and we kind of talked about them a few slides ago. You want smooth muscling, you don't want them too fat, not too skinny.
Lots of muscling in that hind quarter, right?
Yeah. and just an overall balanced animal. And I don't know if we mentioned it, but when you're judging a horse, you kind of want to split it into three. So kind of the head and neck, and then the middle, and then the hind end there. And you want them all to be balanced and equivalent to each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna let you guys take a look at these horses and come up with your placings, and then we'll talk about them.
Yes, it's just general horses.
Yeah.
Horse conformation, yeah. I think they're all quarter horses.
We think 1, 3, 4, 2.
All right, we have, oh my gosh, I don't know where to actually start. We have a
1, 4, 3, 2.
1, 4, 3, 2. Okay, we have a 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2,
I think what we're gathering is that you guys all put 2 in last,
which is good.
which is good, yeah.
We have a question, I think, Lexi.
Oh, yeah.
I think 1, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
How did we place them? Yeah. Okay, so we place this class of horses 4, 1, 3, 2. And when we get into the horse we had in first here, that number 4, we picked this one because this horse is the most balanced. You can see he's got a clean front end, but lots of muscling in the hind quarter there. And he's got prominent withers, which means that they stick up a little bit, but not too far. And he has a nice slope in his back, and
He's a lot smoother through his shoulder than number 1. We found one is we kind of call it lumpy, choppy,
Yeah.
with muscling. We want it kind of a little bit smoother than that, and he's also lacking a lot of muscle in the hind in his gaskin, right, compared to number 4. So once again, see how we're comparing, right?
Yeah. And then moving on to number 3, this horse is very over-conditioned compared to the other ones. It's really hard to see the true muscling on this horse because of the condition on the horse, but you can tell that he's still a fairly proportionate, well-balanced animal. Other than that, there's not too much to say about that one.
And then we placed 2 last because this horse is very under conditioned, and even if we're talking about, I know it's just general horses, but remember horses are athletes too. So we want them to be able to perform. And we felt that 2 just isn't able to perform because it is under conditioned, needs some more feed, and we can't see any muscling really because this horse needs a lot more feed to be able to be judged accordingly with the other horses in the class.
And also, like, lots of horses are animals that are used for work and to be rode as well. So you got to keep that in mind when you're looking at these. Like number 2, you wouldn't want to ride him at all. That would be pretty cruel.
And
So-
another thing, like your saddle may not even be able to stay on that horse very well because it is too fat.
Yeah.
You want your saddle to be able to sit into your withers and onto your back. Nice. Do we have a question from Abby?
Would we generally see 4 and 1 in the same class? Just because like they're 2 totally different horses. Like 4 is more of a race build, whereas 1 is more of a ranch build. Would we generally see those in the same class?
It really depends.
Yeah. I know I judged a class of ranch horses at our provincials, and they were pretty similar in type, but this is kind of just an example of how different horses can be to kind of give you guys an idea of what to look for. So it depends, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, some competitions may not be super, super specific, and then you may have, like you said, a racehorse and more of a ranch horse in the class because they're just talking about general horses. But you may, like Emma said, you may have ranch horses, I've even judged Tennessee walking horses, right? So, and you have to know, like, the Tennessee walker may walk, well, it does walk very differently from a quarter horse, right? So, knowing your horse breeds is also going to help you. It breeds in anything is going to help you when judging as well.
Yeah. As you get into higher competition, you may see horses of a similar type in a class versus maybe just a 4-H judging, you might have very different types of horses, if that makes sense. Yeah, so
you mentioned, I see in the chat, this is why I'm bringing it up, because there's a lot of mention that the number 2 horse is skinny, and you guys mentioned condition. Do you want to just touch on using those terms when you do come across
sure.
that may not be as appealing as others?
When we're talking about condition, we mean how much fat is on the animal. And if you're judging a market steer, you're going to desire that more so than on a heifer because they're not meant to be very fat because they're going to be having calves, sorry, and they're going to be producing. But yeah, market steers are going to end up on the hook at the butcher shop. So you'll look for conditions as far as cattle in more of a steer type situation. As far as horses, all around, more so you just want them to have like enough condition that they're healthy, you can ride them and or they can do their job, race, whatever it might be. You don't want under condition or over condition necessarily in any case.
Yeah, and then just with the point of like calling it skinny or under condition, we never want to use words that are going to sound degrading to the animal or negative. Even if we're saying that they aren't the best in the class, we don't want to be super negative towards them and put them down in any way. So it's better to say that they're underconditioned and lacking muscle and maybe fat cover rather than saying that they're skinny because we still want to be positive even if they are our 4th place. So that's how we place them. And now we just have questions. So any questions you guys have about what we talked about or anything that maybe we didn't answer? All right. Feel free to unmute yourself. Yeah.
No question.
No.
Questions?
What if they have all like bigger horses in the class, like all like fatter and not healthy?
If they were all fat or not healthy, is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay, so usually when you're judging a class, they're gonna bring in animals that you're gonna be able to compare, and there's ones that will stand out because they're a little bit better than the other ones. So you're not usually gonna see a whole class
That are identical.
yeah. Oh, and what would you look for on sheep? I see is in the chat. For sheep, you're looking for loin. And when you're gonna judge them, you can actually take your hand and kind of go like this from their last rib and beyond that, and that's kind of how you can measure their loin, and you'll look at their teeth and kind of how strong their back legs are, because that's super important for sheep as well, if that answers that.
All right, we have what is the correct wording for when you give your reasons? So if you're writing it out or saying it, you can say, I place this class of quarter horses, and then you put your numbers 4, 1, 3, 2. I place, normally I like to, yeah, for you guys, you can say, I place 4 over 1 because, give 2 or 3 reasons why. And then you can go, I place 1 over 3 because, give 2 or 3 reasons why. And then I place, what am I at? 3 over 2,
Yeah.
whatever placements are, over, I place 3 over 2 because, and then give your reasons why. And then you say, for the above reasons or for those reasons, I place this class of quarter horses 4, 1, 3, 2. I don't know if that answers the question, but
Autumn, you have a question?
So if you were looking for into like a meat horse, what would you look for?
a meat horse. Well, you're gonna want to look. I guess it's kind of condition. So you're gonna want to see You don't want too much fat cover because too much fat is going to ruin your meat on your animal. You obviously, like Emma said, you want condition on them.
Yeah.
Lots of muscling.
Structure and like soundness wouldn't necessarily be as important if they are going for meat. If that makes sense.
Okay,
Normally
thank
you
you.
won't get a horse eat or like a horse meat class. I don't think anywhere in North America, but
No, probably not.
generally you don't have that class. So you're usually looking for performance or breeding characteristics over the meat for horses.
You might come across a steak class, but that would be from a beef animal. But other than that, probably not.
You're probably
Yeah,
never going to
that's
judge a
right.
horse for meat. It's going to be performance or the conformation of them.
Yeah, there is a question when you go back to the reasons. I want to mention that on the 4-H website, there are some good judging resources, and it does give some samples of reasons as well. So just like how you structure them, what sentences to use. So if you want a good reference point, they will be on our 4-H website under the judging. And I think there was another question about what do you look for in a duck? And then the other question that I seen was what are the best terms to use when judging pigs?
Oh boy.
So
I've
a
only
duck
ever
and pigs
judged
will put you
I've
on the
only judged pigs once, but as far as I understand, you're looking for like a butterfly type of shape over their back and their ham, which is kind of on their butt to be more prominent than the rest of their body.
Right, so it stands out.
So, yeah, you could use the term ham, which is a part of, I guess, a market pig. And
You could use fat covering if you're looking at that butterfly, right?
yeah,
Um,
other than that, I'm not too experienced with pigs.
and I feel like it's kind of over whatever you're judging. If you're looking for width and depth, you can say wider, deeper, longer,
I have a
just
question.
those
Stronger.
stronger, those kind of words. I've never judged ducks,
Yeah,
so
no, me either.
I don't really know what you'd look for on that, and I don't really know. I don't know exactly what you would be judging them for
I
either.
have a question.
I know we just have one more question in the chat here that I can see, and then we'll get some of the hands. What would you look for on a heifer? So heifers are your females, right? Reproduction. You want a feminine look to them. You want a good extension in their neck. Once again, strong, straight top line. You want a wide and deep heifer, and you also want lots of length from their hooks to pins because that's going to mean they have more area, I guess, for calving ease. Also your feet structure, you want to watch how they walk.
You don't want their pasterns like dipping down necessarily. You want them to be strong, but like you don't want them to be straight legged. You want a little bit of give, but not too much.
Yes, hopefully that answers your question. So we'll start with some of the hands here. Quaid, I think.
I have a question. What do you judge chickens, and when you're judging chickens, what do you really look for?
I think on chickens you're looking at feet and feathers, but I'm not 100% sure.
And if you're judging more of like a butchered chicken, you
Condition.
yeah, you want to look for the meat in like their breast, right? Because that's where majority of their meat is going to be. So if you're able to feel them, you might be able to feel that. But yeah,
Okay.
cleanness of their feathers.
Make sure they have all their toes, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Eva and Leah.
Hi. What if you have to judge a class of things you know absolutely nothing about? Like if you had to judge a bunch of quilts and you knew nothing about quilts.
I have been in that situation before where I have had to judge something I know nothing about. But usually in a lower competition, a lower, less competitive situation, there will be somebody there to explain what you're looking for in the class. So then you can take some notes about what they said and you can go look at the class and see, okay, which one has what the person who was explaining about, which one has the strongest characteristics in this area and in this area. So usually, yes, you will have somebody to tell you about what you're judging.
Yeah, normally there's someone going to be there to be able to go over the class, say, look for this and this and this. And then, like Emma said, jot those down. Then when you go look at the class, you can be like, okay, I need to look for this. And sometimes in like more odd classes, like say, like you said, quilts, there may even be like a situation. So you need a certain quilt for this situation, and then you judge it based on what's going to be best for that situation.
Okay, thank you. And it's Eva.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine.
Caitlin?
Yes. What if you're judging like say muffins or like photos or like boots best for like somebody injured?
Again, you're gonna have somebody that's telling you what the situation is and
What to look for.
yeah, how to judge the certain thing. So if you just listen to whoever's talking to you about it, you should be able to yeah, you should be able to get it done.
Awesome. I think we'll take two more, or there's three more
Thank you.
questions.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to Hogan and Fleetwoods, and then Bishler and Quaid. I'm not sure if Quaid answers question, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, so we'll go in that order.
How do you judge goats?
I have never judged a goat, but again, you're looking for confirmation, like how even they are throughout their body, maybe a little bit of condition.
It also depends if you're judging a market or like or female, right?
Yeah.
And I know like Suzanne or Susan, is it Susan? Suzanne, she had said before that there's lots of good resources on 4-H on the website. I've looked through the book many a times before regional multi-species judging, and you can read through all different kinds of species. There's goats, there's sheep, there's horses, there's cows or beef cows, dairy cows, all of that, and it's gonna give you what to look for, terminology. It's gonna give you an example of so if you guys have any questions on things like that, go to the 4-H website and look up those because guaranteed, especially if it's livestock related, I'm pretty sure there's even chickens in there. So for those of you wondering about chickens, you can look at that in there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that 4-H Alberta will be a little bit more helpful on the goats than us.
Alberta Goat actually has some good resources too. So Google can be your best friend when you're looking for judging. There's some free practice classes that are out there on a site called livestockjudging.com, or Google might give you some practice classes if you put that in there as well. But I believe there's goats in the 4-H stuff as well.
Yeah,
okay.
you can definitely find it on Google.
Yeah. I think I'm saying that right. Bishler, go ahead.
What's your favorite thing to judge that's not livestock or animals?
Oh,
My favorite judge or class that I've had to judge was actually genes. So we had, I think it was a scenario class, so we had to judge the best riding jeans. So you had to look at the seams, you had to look at maybe how comfortable they would be, like how much flexibility they had. I don't know. That was my favorite.
my favorite thing to judge that's not livestock is probably steaks. You're gonna look for like the coloration. You want them to be like a nice red color and how much fat is on them and that kind of thing. Yeah, I would say steak for mine for sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Great question. I like that one. And I don't find Quaid anymore, but his hand went down. So I guess we'll wrap up for the night. There is a tractor question in there, and I'll just quickly answer that unless you girls want to take that. It's basically what you want to use that tractor for. So very similar to your horses. What are you going to use it for? Ranch work, barrel work, jumping? You're going to judge that class on tractors based on the function that you're going to be using it for. So there's probably some really good Google stuff about tractors as well. So thank you, Emma and Shanley, for joining me tonight. We wish you all the best with your competitions that you have coming up with your college team. And
hawk.
for any member that is wanting to sign up to the provincial judging competition, you might see these two lovely ladies either judging.
We'll be there. Yeah, we will.
Judging.
Thank you for having us on here.
Yeah. Great. Just a reminder to all the 4-H members, this was recorded, so we'll post it on the 4-H Alberta YouTube, also with the other 2 sessions that we're also going on tonight. And remember that March 1st deadline for the provincial judging competition. Where you want to gain a whole lot of experience is at your local level. So encourage your clubs to maybe have a fun class each time you meet. It could be candies. It could be anything simple like that. Because the more you practice, the better judge you become. And then also a lot of districts and regions also have learning days that also have a little competition in it too. So the more you can do it, the better you will become with the terminology and your sentence structure. So any last comments?
Now, what?
I'm just going to jump back over to our sponsors again. We can't do our program without these wonderful sponsors. So Government of Alberta, Etta Diamond Clover, our Emerald Clover, Alberta Recycling, Altalink, ATB, Calgary Stampede Foundation, CPA, UFA, the Gold Clover sponsors AFSC and Co-op, Silver Clover, Wolf Carbon Solutions, Bronze Clover sponsors Alberta Beef Producers, Bayer, Gas, Alberta Inc., Lakeland College, MCS Net, Nutrien, Viterra, and our national sponsor, Bayer. So that's all we have for you guys tonight. Enjoy your meeting. There was some chatter about communications and public speaking. So if you are headed into that this weekend, good luck. And hopefully it's went well if you've already had your communications day. And hopefully we will see you soon. There's lots of opportunity to join 4-H Alberta and our partners like our team from Lakeland College on future programs. So have a good night, everybody.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Leave.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.